hours of rapid e-learning conversion. Here are a few interesting stats. L&D professionals were polled on where they planned, what was their plan going forward. And 51% of them planned on upskilling programs. Now, although this is 2020, this report came out towards the end of 2020. And we believe that this trend is going to just pick up. It's just going to get stronger. And 43% of L&D pros planned launching reskilling programs. So with business changing so quickly and technology changing the way we do business, there is a very urgent and compelling need for most organizations who want to stay competitive and who want to thrive in today's marketplace to invest in both upskilling as well as reskilling, equipping people for job functions apart from the one that they are in currently. And these are putting the focus, the kind of environment we are in, are putting the focus on these two important aspects. Now, the question is, once we are committed to these two, upskilling our workforce and reskilling, rolling out reskilling programs, the question still remains, how do we scale learning across the organization? In fact, 26% of the L&D professionals who were polled mentioned that scaling learning is one of their top 3 challenges. So let's see what we can do to make sure that we scale rapidly across the organization. So I have the 4 R's. I'll very quickly touch upon them before going into them in a little detail. The record R it's all about saving the time of the SME, because I think most of our delays happen because of the unavailability of the SME. So how do we optimize the SME time and make sure that training doesn't get outdated by the time it's rolled out? The second is Republish, where we republished existing courses with branding, newer branding, better interactivities, mobile compatibility, and so on. And the third is Rebuilding, where we get a chance to assess our existing curriculums and our existing e-learning, and we see how we can rebuild them into a better format. And the fourth is Redesigning. How do we convert classroom training material to e-learning and to virtual classrooms? And this is where the trend towards blended learning is increasing. I think most even organizations who kind of held on into converting their instructor-led trainings into digital formats, hoping that things would get back to normalcy and we would go back to the world we were once familiar with, have now are now rethinking their strategy, because it looks like it's going to be some time before we see normal, or before we even begin to see what the new normal looks like.
Shalini, sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah?
Can you please explain what the SME stands for the benefit of our
Okay, sorry.
participants?
Subject matter experts. So these are the people whose inputs we take, who give us the content inputs for our training, whether it's e-learning, whether it's ILTs. And these are actually people who are, as their name indicates, experts in their own field. And for them, the primary job is not training. But the fact remains that we cannot develop and roll out our training initiatives without their inputs and without their sign-offs, because they are the experts in that chosen field. So how do we optimize their time? I think those of us familiar with the long e-learning project management cycle know that there are many touch points with this SME. There are multiple reviews, multiple sign-offs at the learning objectives level, at the content outline level, at the level of the PowerPoint storyboard, at the level of the functional prototype, and so on. But the point is, when we need to scale learning across the organization in a hurry, and we cannot, any delay is going to cost us. We cannot wait to catch hold of the SMEs who have, their own work demands, and for whom training is not the primary role. So here's what we implemented with our customers: a very quick and dirty way to save SME time with only 3 touch points. So what we did with our customers is we asked the customer to create to use an existing PowerPoint on the given topic and just walk through it, recording their audio per slide. So as they walked through, they kept recording their audio. So what we did is we took it back, we made a transcript out of it, we cut down all the unnecessary parts of it, made it really tight and concise, and designed the PowerPoint slides. And we sent it back to the SMEs, the design PowerPoint along with the audio script. So once we got the feedback and we implemented it, the training was ready. All we had to do was add the professional voice narration and convert the voiceover, the PPT into a video with professional voice. So this was one way in which recording to save the SME time helps you to really scale quickly and roll out trainings in no time. The second R is the republish R, especially useful because we needed to make our courses mobile compatible, and also courses which were developed in older software or authoring tools which in very old versions. Now it's time to republish them to HTML5 output. And there is an increasing trend to actually make courses with mobile first, design for mobile first. Earlier, it used to be you have a regular version and then you make a mobile version also. But now there's an increasing trend. So this is one way in which we use the republish option. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the older versions of the authoring tool, you might want to update your courses to give them a more a new and or a fresh look and feel, and take advantage of the latest authoring tools with their enhanced templates to really add that much more level of engagement and interactivity to your old courses. And of course, sometimes it's just a matter of republishing old courses to reflect your latest branding, and then republishing courses to also make them translation friendly. So this is the second R. Now the third R, which will help us scale learning very quickly across, is that we can break down lengthier e-learning courses and reconfigure them in the form of micro-learning courses. So we take existing curriculums and we create micro-learning curriculums. So what you see displayed on the screen are some of the various formats. You can have just quizzes as a micro-learning component. You can have a video. In fact, videos are becoming increasingly popular. And micro-learning, can be used at various points in the learning journey. You can use them as pre-training. You can use them as the actual training content, as standalone modules. And you can use them after the training to keep refreshing the learner's recall of what they had learned. Now, the fourth R is redesigning your existing materials and getting started with blended learning. So with this strategy, you can convert classroom training materials to online training, whether it is synchronous, e-learning, mobile learning, micro-learning, or whether it is, whether it's asynchronous, which is e-learning, mobile learning, and micro-learning, or whether it is synchronous. So basically, you can take a very objective look at your existing training materials and decide how you would want to present various parts of that content in the various formats that are available. And which part would you want to reserve for the ILT, which part for the e-learning, and which part you would like to provide as performance support. So altogether, you come up with an entire blended learning strategy. So here's a very quick look at the process. You analyze the learners, you study the environment, you revisit the LOs, the learning objectives. And once you finish your content analysis, you can identify the gaps and fill them in. And then you come up with your instructional strategy with micro-learning, with whether it's, you want to use a mix of ILT, e-learning, micro-learning, and so on. You decide on whether you want your courses to be audio intensive or not so audio intensive. You decide on how interactive you want your courses to be. And then, of course, you add your assessments. So, this is a golden chance for us to redesign and repurpose existing materials and to spread their reach, to increase their reach. So, blended learning is something that is seeing increased adoption in organizations across various domains. So let's